The problem with a lot of epic fantasy authors is that they write books like this. But what if you only want a sample before you start such a big book? I'm Father Roderick, I'm a priest and I write fantasy, and I love to share with you the magic of reading and writing. Now let's start with the author who puts epic in epic fantasy, Robert Jordan. The Wheel of Time. I mean, it's massive, it's gigantic. How can you possibly know what you're in for if you've never sampled it? Well, turns out he has written actually a prequel to The Wheel of Time that is intended to do just that. It is called New Spring. It's a prequel to the story of Moraine and Lan, and it already immerses you into the world that he has created, but also he wrote it at the end of his career. So when he was already very, very good at writing compelling stories. It is a fantastic entry point into the world of Wheel of Time. And then the author who actually finished The Wheel of Time after the passing of Robert Jordan, Brandon Sanderson. Now, Brandon Sanderson, of course, also is pretty epic when it comes to the amount of books that he wrote, but also the individual tomes of his series. But he also wrote a couple of novellas that I think give you a really good idea of his writing style and of the world of the Cosmere that he has created. And my recommendation would be The Emperor's Soul. It's got a unique, really interesting magic system, and it's only 100 pages long. And then Robin Hobb, the Farseer trilogy and all the books that followed. There is a story that you could read that gives you a pretty good idea of the style, which is pretty unique to Robin Hobb, of writing fantasy. It's called The Willful Princess and the Piebald Prince. It takes place a couple of generations before the events in the Farseer trilogy, and it is, I think, pretty indicative of what you can expect in these bigger books. And then Adrian Tchaikovsky, who writes both fantasy and a lot of science fiction. Really epic stories, incredible world building. But how do you get into it? Well, here's my recommendation. Elder Race. It's a very interesting mix of both fantasy and science fiction, and actually it alternates every chapter. You have to read it to see what I mean. And then, of course, we have one of the fathers of epic fantasy, J.R.R. Tolkien himself. If you want to get a good taste of the world building and the humor of Tolkien, just read The Hobbit. Or, if you prefer something even shorter, Farmer Giles of Ham, a short story which has it all: a reluctant hero, giants, and even dragons. If you have a suggestion for a book that gives you a small taste of the bigger works of a famous fantasy writer, let me know in the comments and follow for more.